It's October 1914 and the Ottoman Empire just joined the Central Powers because they don't really like the Russians and the Germans gave them some cash. This meant the Russians had to send troops to the Caucasus, the British and the French had to send troops to defend the Suez Canal, but more importantly, Britain had lost its supply routes with Russia as the Ottomans controlled the Dardanelles. This made the British angry, and they wanted that supply route back, so they and the French started planning a campaign attempting to gain control of the Dardanelles. They would start at the Gallipoli Peninsula. In March 1915, the Allied forces sent some old warships as they believed the Ottomans were unable to defend well enough against even their older ships. But instead of the tried and true method of letting minesweepers go ahead and detect or detonate some of the enemy mines, the arrogant British decided to go full steam ahead. They also went very close to the shore, letting the Ottomans fire shell after shell and sinking a few ships, so they kinda shot themselves in the foot there. Just the foot for now. They ended up falling back, and later in April landed in two different places, Anzac Cove and Cape Helles. When the Australian and New Zealanders landed in Anzac Cove, they expected to be fighting on the beaches, but the British had messed up the navigation and they were a few miles north. The Ottomans had the high ground and the Anzacs were ordered to dig in. They fought valiantly, but didn't end up making too much progress. At Cape Helles, they landed at 5 different beaches around the tip. These were codenamed S, V, W, X, and Y. At Y Beach, the Allies made decent progress and got the closest they ever would to capturing Krithia, but they were stalled and eventually had to move back to the beach due to a lack of orders. What's that noise? Oh, it's the Lancashires at W Beach, and they just lost over half their men due to lack of orders. The Ottomans were able to keep them at bay, literally and figuratively, but they were out of ammunition and only had bayonets left. The Ottomans went to their general and said, "Sir, we should really retreat." "No, you stay." "But we would have to use knives against guns." "That's fine, you stay." "We are all going to die, sir." "Perfectly normal. You stay." And that's how every man in the 25th Regiment was either injured or killed. The Allies pushed up again to try to capture Krithia, but they were too slow and the Ottoman reinforcements had already made their way between the Allies and Krithia. They were pushed back to the beach. Some of the Ottoman reinforcements also went to Anzac Cove, but were beaten by the Anzacs who had gotten some naval support. Not a lot happened for a while. The Ottomans got some more reinforcements, the Anzacs attacked but didn't make any progress. Then the Ottomans brought in some artillery, and now the Anzacs really needed to take control of the high ground at Krithia or Acibaba. So the Anzacs began to move towards Krithia, but they were stopped by a fierce 2-day battle that broke out at Anzac Cove, and the Anzacs failed to capture either of the targets. The Ottomans were planning to surprise attack the Anzacs, but their plan was useless after a British plane flew over and saw the preparations. The Ottomans still attacked, but after 13,000 deaths, they moved back a bit. Some other Allied divisions tried to take Krithia again, but they didn't make much progress and just ended up with more trench warfare. After the general was denied more troops and Bulgaria joined the Central Powers, the Allies decided to evacuate. Apparently the Anzacs set up their rifles with a can attached to a string attached to the trigger with a can with holes in the bottom above with water in it. This allowed their rifles to keep firing as they snuck out to the ships and evacuated to Salonika. A total of 550,000 were injured and 100,000 died, and all that for a badly planned, badly executed invasion that didn't achieve anything for anyone.